Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Mike in the building once again. Swish for real. How you living? Yo, Wild Dogs all paws off tonight. We got Boogie Bob though. Boogie, how's it? How's your week, man? How you been?
Well, thank you for having me. Just staying cool in this nice Texas, a month or two late summer that we're getting. Uh, so my lawn, my lawnmower is going, isn't it time to mow? And I'm like, no, I'm not giving it extra water, so it won't grow. It just turned brown. I don't have to mow.
Dang, cause it's just tough. Cause I looked at my water bill. I kind of shook my head like, jeez, that's like crazy. It ain't never been that high. But it is what it is. Cause we're trying to grow some vegetables out there, and it's the sun's beating it up. But we got the on the side of our house is a nice little sunny spot, so we put the vegetables over there. But it's been tough.
Yeah. I mean, normally this time of year, I probably water 3 times a week, but I've got it on once a week. So
Yeah, for sure. Cool. How's everything on your side of the planet, man? Other than just just living.
went to the Don Nelson funeral a couple weeks ago. So
Yeah.
y'all did a great job,
All right.
mentioning that last week. And then I was at a retreat all weekend last weekend, so held up pretty good.
Nice. Nice. And me over here, I'm just chilling, still working on some things, trying to get the business running right. Got to start trying to figure out some more things with it. But we're getting there. We're getting there. So you guys
I
keep going.
heard you had a famous former NBA player follow your Rim Kings.
Oh yeah, Kenyon Martin, man. Shout out to you, Kenyon, if you see this video, man. Appreciate you following RKV. Thanks, man. We're gonna get you a shirt so you can kind of sport it on your podcast or whatever you're doing. Even when you're playing golf, we're gonna get you one of our polos when we get ready to drop those. So just be on the lookout for you. We got you, man. But yeah,
Come on the show and
oh
bring your
yeah,
son too.
yeah, man, real talk. Real love it. Dallas native, man. So hey, and funny thing is him and my wife went to a private school together. I don't think he remembers her, but they went to the same some type of Catholic school. I can't remember the name of it, but him and her went there back in the day. So yeah.
Well, the guy that did my roof played basketball with him.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's cool. Speaking of basketball, I know last week we talked about the top five shooting guards, and the prior to that was top five point guards currently. Top five small forwards we're gonna cover this week. And it's some of the small forwards that are kind of long in the tooth are still really good. You know what I mean? You can kind of look at LeBron, Kawhi Leonard. Give me your top five small forwards currently for the NBA.
Well, I I watched last week's podcast and uh, there was a lot of argument about whether LeBron was a shooting guard or a point guard or small forward. That was fun to listen to. So, he's kind of a hybrid, and there's tall shooting guards, uh, the small forward. Mark McGuire type, Adrian Dantley type. They weren't
Mhm.
even Charles Barkley, even though he played power forward. They were in at 6'5", 6'6". So the small forwards kind of morphed into 6'6", 6'7" guy that can switch, and a lot of players call it 3 and D because they can hit the three. They play defense. So there's the old school small forward you dump the ball into, and that was the power. If you didn't have a great center that can score, the small forward was the guy that got the ball went through him and generated a lot of touches and scoring. So I kind of use that in my analysis because
Mhm.
some of these players are plug and play. When we get to the honorable mention,
Mhm.
you can put like Clay Thompson. Everybody knows he's a shooting guard, but he could play small forward. If
Because it's
PJ,
height, yeah.
PJ plays power, they list him as power forward, but he's really small forward size.
Yeah.
Uh, so with that in mind, my top five, uh, Jalen Brown, and these are in order the way I ranked them. Jalen Brown, Cooper Flag,
Coop.
Ka- Kawhi Leonard,
Kawhi, yeah.
Con Knipple. I know there was some discussion about whether he's a shooting guard or what he was, but he's to me he's a small forward, at least when LaMelo was there. And then the last of the top five, Michael Porter Jr.
Why Michael Porter Jr.?
Uh, he he can fill up the bucket. I know he had back problems that he didn't get to play in college, so Denver took a chance with him, and he had injured a lot. But if you watch him with the Brooklyn Nets, I got to see him twice against the Nets last year, and he can fill it up. He's he's a deceivingly decent defender. He's not Scottie Pippen level, but he's no slouch on the defense. But offensively, now that he's got more touches and Brooklyn was running their offense through him, uh, he's a he's a, they used to call him 20-10 guys, 20 points and 10 rebounds. I don't know that he has that many rebounds, but he's a bucket getter. On a great
Yeah. He
on a great
shoots a lot
team like
though.
Denver,
Hmm.
he averaged 15. They ran offense through Jokic, but on a different on a different team where they run the offense through him, he's definitely to me a small forward.
And who's your honorable mention?
So uh two of these could be debatable, and I know one of them's your favorite. Uh One of them I would get pushback from Paul and Wild Dog, but they're not here to argue with me. But Julian Champagnie
Champagne. Yeah, Champagne for San Antonio.
for San Antonio.
Yeah, he nice.
He can guard a tall shooting guard. He can guard a small forward. He can switch, which makes it and he's got great lateral quickness. They don't run the offense through him, but if he's open, he'll shoot. He's got a great 3-point shot, I think. Uh, I haven't seen much of his on the ball or dribble type of game, but you can tell he's got some offensive game to him, uh, more than what they've asked him to do. But I kind of like I kind of like him. Uh, the second honorable mention, one of your favorite players, Scotty Barnes. Uh, I
Oh
started
yeah,
to put
that's one of my picks.
I started to put Pascal Siakam because the two of the between Siakam and Barnes, they both play power forward. They both play small forward. Uh, I think Pascal's probably a couple inches taller. And I started to put OG Anunoby on there, but
Yeah.
I came up with another one that since he left Memphis, he's really impressed me. He's really fit in well with the Suns, and that's Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You surprised me because he really plays really well now with them. I think he really complements Devin Booker for sure.
Yeah, in college he was a scorer. In Memphis, they asked him to play defense, and so he's known as a. I mean, granted, every team can handle one nutcase, but when you get two, that's when it gets unmanageable. But Dylan Brooks could be a nutcase, kind of the Patrick Beverly realm or Delonte West or Larry Hughes even. But the dude can defend really well, and you saw in Phoenix his offensive game showed up. I think Memphis just wasn't using him right.
Yeah, I think with him for sure, he's gonna be that pest, like you said. You gotta give him his much to do because he's really playing a really good defensive team. We're playing against their best players for the most part, so he really putting on this defensive prowess.
So those were the small forward. Uh, all time, if you go in the past, uh, Julius Ervin and Mark Aguirre are probably my two favorite small forwards.
Not Scottie Pippen.
I like Scotty. I just didn't love him. I appreciated his talent. I just didn't love him, but I loved watching Dr. J. I loved watching Aguirre.
Gotcha. Yeah, no joke. Give you mines real quick. Kevin Durant. I mean, they list him as a small forward, but he's my number one on that whole list because even though he doesn't play defense, but he still gives you a whole lot, man. He's gonna rebound the ball for sure. He's not like a top 10 rebounder, but he gets you what he can for his rebounds, and he's an automatic bucket all the time. KD just he's a star. Like he's not a he used to be a superstar when he was with Golden State and when he was with OKC, but once he started moving teams, it kind of tarnish his star. But I mean, when he went to Golden State, everybody was hating on him for doing that. And I get it though, but it's like when you're on the black top and you see your homeboys and they're all good and you want to hoop with them, like, why not go hoop with them? You know what I mean? Because I think most NBA players are really cool with each other outside the court. But yeah, KD's my number one. Scotty Barnes, man, he's really been showing out in Toronto. He's been really improving. He shoots the ball well. He plays defense, and I think everything he gets accolades why he's well deserved of it, man. And he's real quiet about himself. He doesn't put himself out there and social media wise. He's just real quiet. He's just like one of those blue collar guys that's going to get you the bucket, get you the defense, and just stay with his nose down and do what he got to do. Second, Trey Murphy. He's a uncut gem that a lot of people don't talk about. They're starting to though, because I think with him, all the other guys that left the team and kind of handed it over to him. If they get rid of um what's the kid name, the superstar they got from Duke, that one is a kid name. Uh,
Zion?
Zion Williams. If they get rid of him and turn it over to Murphy, I wouldn't. I'd say that team would be a lot more better. Because when they got rid of Brandon Ingram, and it kind of put Trey Murphy in that position to fill it in for Brandon Ingram. But Zion, I think he should just play second fiddle to Trey Murphy and let Murphy grow into that superstar. And you mentioned this guy earlier, OG Anunoby, man. You see what he did in the finals. He came in clutch a lot, man, and he wasn't really trying to. I mean, he knew what he needed. He did what he needed to do when it was time to do it, and that right there, as far as my top five, he is definitely number five on that list because he just showed you that he's humble, kind of like what we talked about with Scotty Barnes. He's very low key, doesn't give you a lot of social media presence, but he plays a lot of good basketball and keeps his nose down and just play basketball. That's a lot of things. A lot of players should start playing like that. And I don't know if a lot of players will listen to me, but that's my top five. But my honorable mention, you got him on your list as well, and that's Cooper Flag. Cooper is going to be amazing as a small forward. Man, he's quick, he's agile, he's athletic, he's smart. He'll get you 50 on a given night. He's gonna be a superstar. Yeah, 51. That's right. And we were there to witness that. So, Coop, you the truth, man. But that's my honorable mention, man. I think he's a star in the making. The league's gonna probably put him as the face of the league probably in the next 2 to 3 years. Because if he plays well this year and they make the playoffs and get past the first round, man, that's gonna solidify him as a bona fide star. He's a really good rookie. No longer a rookie. This is his second season, so we'll see what he's gonna do. But yeah, that's my honorable mention for my top five, man.
And the
KD,
only reason I didn't put OG on there is the way the Knicks are structured. OG plays more of the power forward, and Mikal Bridges plays more of the small forward.
yeah, yeah, and
And
I
when he
get it
was
though.
at Toronto, I think it was Toronto before he got traded.
Yep, it was.
Pascal played the power forward, and he played the small forward there. But he was on. He's kind of on that fence because the role he's playing is more of the power forward, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen combined kind of player.
Yeah, he's a good player though, man. I like what he did in the finals. He showed up, and did his thing, man. But Cooper Flag is my honorable mention. So we'll see what you're gonna do this coming season, man. And speaking of the Mavs, we switching over to the next topic. The Mavs had such the last few years has been tumultuous, man. It's just been crazy. And then we just found out that Klay Thompson took the buyout and he's going into Miami to show his talents in the great city of Miami. So that brings the question of with this roster, how many wins do you predict the Mavs will have coming up in the next season, or this season rather, because we're here already?
So good luck, Clay. It's ironic that Tim Hardaway Jr. and Klay Thompson both ended up on the Heat
Dang. Yeah.
because Clay took Tim Hardaway's role on the Mavericks. So I'm going to throw a lot of stats at you before I give you my prediction. They were 26 and 56 last year. So they won 26 games. 45 games were considered clutch. And their record in those 45 games was 17 and 28. Now you're going to have some years where a clutch game, you're going to maybe win more than you lose. You'll have other years that you don't win as many, but generally speaking, clutch games, you try to be around 500. So 45 games, if they get the 50-50 on the clutch wins, that's 22 wins. That's 5 more wins than last year.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie's wins against replacement, approximately 5 more wins there. D Lively playing with Gafford, I gave that 3 more wins right there just because of defense. So right there is 13 more wins, which puts him at 39 wins. And
Mm.
I think with the new blood and with the new coach that they're going to be somewhere between 43 and 46. I have them topping out at 47 and 38.
Wow. Wow. That that's not bad. Now you got them giving them more than what I could give them because I feel like they're gonna be right there at 39 games. You know what I mean? Because it's a whole new season. I don't think they'll be 500, but I said last time, and looking at them getting rid of Clay, it kind of the shooting is pretty much gone because Clay was actually getting better. You know what I mean? As far as playing his role with the Dallas Mavericks, and they was letting him fly, letting him play, and you taking that away because I had him winning 45 games when we talked about this before for this season. But now that Clay's gone, that I think, in my opinion, it takes
But
away a couple of
the
games.
real question is Ricochet, your starting shooting guard, and does Max Christie go to the bench now?
Max Christie, love him dearly, good guy, but I don't know.
He
Yeah,
he, he started off really hot, but he trailed off really bad at the end of the season.
And then when he came in, he didn't really give us anything. He showed flashes, and then the next year he showed more flashes, but it just that's all he did. Like you say, he kind of trolled off. He just flash and dash. I don't know if it's the system,
Which
the
I think
coaching.
would be perfect for the 6-man room. That Ricochet start. He gives you a
Yeah,
little more dynamic on offense. But
yeah.
the other thing with Clay is Jason Kidd's offensive set. We talked about this when they hired May. His offensive sets were not very elaborate. And if you look at the summer league, even though Dusty May wasn't coaching, I'm sure the coach was using some of the plays that Dusty made. There was a lot more movement, a lot more ball movement, a lot more player movement, a lot more down pins, double screens. Uh, so you've got to have a quick, agile, move guy. And I just, you know, we love Clay. He wore number 31 while he was here, but Jason Terry won the ring when he was here with 31. They had to get rid of somebody. I was just hoping to get rid of Caleb Martin. Uh, but I think the reason that they'll go from the 39, which I gave you the stats of why I get them to 39, is that at the end of the season, the fourth quarter was all the two-way players and the bottom of the roster and Dwight Powell.
Mm,
And you're going to lose, when you're playing the last 6 to 10 minutes of the fourth quarter with basically your G League guys and your one veteran, you're going to lose a lot of those games. And that's not to just, I mean, a lot of good players in the G League. The Mavericks are going to have a stuffed G League team this year. Uh, just you're just not you finish and close with your stars, and I think that's why Kyrie will elevate him from 39 up into the 40s. So, like Glenn Gary, Glenn Rose, always be closing, always be closing.
Yeah. So you
So,
saying that Jason Kidd's offensive set wasn't really beneficial for this squad? Well, I mean, like thinking about that because when he got him to the playoffs and he's this offense was really not that bad, and I think it's more predicated on what Luca gave you.
well, it was designed around Luca, and then without Luca, everybody just kind of fell apart because all the pieces were there to fit Luca, but you didn't have Luca setting them up. It's like almost like James Harden. There's a reason Harden hadn't won a ring yet. Maybe he will in Cleveland. He just finally signed. He turned down 48 million, but he signed a 3 year, 90 million or something contract. But he's like only the third player to hit 500 million in career earnings. But thing is dribble, 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 dribble. Oh, 2 seconds left on the clock. I either got to take a shot or I got to pass to somebody to shoot.
Yeah,
That's not a winning formula for an offense. It's like, yeah, you can have the best scorer in the league and creator, but that that eventually can uh, come back and bite you. That's Nick Nurse did that at Toronto. He's like, okay, we're going to shut down the Greek Freak. Let's see what the other four guys can do. Well, the other four guys were, Middleton and Drew Holiday, and they were sport players. And you don't have that kind of team now with, De La Rey and uh, Morez and Ischenko and Ricochet. You
Cooper
you've got
Flag,
you got
Kyrie.
players that now you can play the faster pace that kid want to play with, and you can run a motion offense with multiple picks and a lot of movement. So it's not dependent on having a spectacular point guard to create a shot. It's designed to where everybody eats and every player has got to be able to put the ball on the floor and create their own shot or dribble, penetrate, kick. It isn't just one or two players. So you've got a completely different structure and you're going to have a completely different system. So I don't, I don't really think Clay would have slowed all these younger kids down.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think Clay would have came off the bench anyway, but him going to Miami is probably going to be a better fit for him anyways. So I got him winning 39 games or right under 40, and you got him winning 47.
I on the high end, I have them between 43 and 46. But if you add that, if they do 50-50 on clutch games, Kyrie and Deli coming back, that's 13 more wins on top 26. That puts them at 39.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
just
Oh, yeah,
I just think you're going to get some breaks you didn't get last year because
gotcha.
you've got a guy. If Kyrie is even 80% of what he was, you've got a guy that can. If you need a bucket in the last minute and a half or two, he's going to get you a bucket.
Yeah, Kyrie for sure. Oh man, well, we'll see, man. Go Mavs. We gotta make it happen. Speaking of dysfunctional teams, man, for the last few years, it's been a while ever since Anthony Davis left New Orleans, they haven't really been the same. You know what I mean? They've been having players come in and out. We talked about Trey Murphy, we talked about Zion, but now you got Jordan Poole, DeJounte Murray, Herb Jones, Jeremiah Fears. They got some people there, but What is going on with them as far as a sports franchise that keeps them from being phenomenal year after year? Well, is it the ownership or is it the players or is it just something to do with the city in general? Give me your thoughts on what's going on with the New Orleans Pelicans.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. The organization.
Mm,
Raw Dog talks about it a lot. But they had Tyson Chandler, Chris Paul, David West.
hmm
I think Stojakovic might even been there a year or two. They never got past the second round. I know they may knocked out the Mavericks, but they had a young Chris Paul and a pretty young Tyson Chandler and a all-star David West, and that just kind of imploded. So
mm,
Anthony Davis is just the next version of that. I mean, they weren't winning with him. Uh, they barely 500, but organization is just it's a mess. So everybody said, yeah, it starts with the owner. I'm not sure if the ownership's changed, but I can tell you the personnel at the top, the player personnel, the GM, the coach, just it's been a revolving door for the coaching.
yes, and when they had Willie Green, I thought they was really doing something with him because he looked like he was going to keep them honest and playing well. But I'm not quite sure what they're doing now.
Yeah, yeah. So when you have an organization that's churning through the upper ranks and the coaching turnover, that's a bad combination. They've also had bad drafting. And like every team's going to miss and then occasionally hit, but they've just had bad draft after bad draft after bad draft. And I called it at the time with my friend. He thought he was crazy. He says, Zion's going to be superstar. I said, he's going to be a bust. He goes, did you see him in North Carolina? I said, yeah, but he's like a smaller
Do
version of Oliver Miller. Like he that body and that much strength and that much weight. I'm like, he's not going to hold up in the NBA. I said that before they, when they were getting ready to draft him at number one. And
mm,
he's never played. I think in most games he's played is like 50 games in a season. He's never his average is like in the 40s, like half a season. So and they gave him a contract extension. So you're in financial purgatory and you got to. We talked about Anthony Davis being street clothes. I think Zion Williams probably been in street clothes as much as Anthony Davis.
do you
Uh,
think Derek Queen will be a difference maker coming this season? Because he
I
played pretty well.
I liked him. I was trying to remember the comp. He's not extremely fast, doesn't jump that high, but he has a nose for the ball.
Mm,
And much like Popeye Jones, he rebounds in traffic really well. And when he wants to get to a spot, it's kind of a poor man's Zach Randolph. He
yeah, yeah.
he's one of those bruiser types. He's a little better than a Julius Randle, but that's the kind of player that Derek Queen is. Uh, so Zion also being injured, and then the last one, they got no true point guard. Who's the last time you remember New Orleans having a true point guard?
Since Chris Paul, and now they got Derek Fears, Jeremiah Fears rather, and DeJounte Murray listed as the point guard, so they don't really have much in that position. I don't see any other guard that they can throw out there.
Yeah, and
Everybody else just
they
shooting
got
guards now.
the Jonte Murray from Atlanta because he didn't work in Atlanta and San Antonio had got rid of him. Uh,
Yeah,
Atlanta made that trade to get Nebhart, unlike New Orleans could have used a Nebhart.
yeah.
They,
Or
they
Brandon Wade.
CJ McCullough, now the Dante Murray. I mean, they've had one shooting guard after another in there, but no real point guard.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. And adding Jordan Poole to the mix of things, Jordan Poole really don't want to play basketball anymore, in my opinion. He's just out there just hooping, and it's not a passion for
He
him. You
got
can
the
see when he's
money
out
and
there.
then he ran. He
Yeah.
got the money from the Golden State and then he ran. Like, okay, he went to Washington and a couple other places and then got traded to New Orleans.
Yeah, I think Herb Jones and Trey Murphy are their best hope for something with this
Yeah.
season. And you throw Derek Queen in there. So work around those three, man. And everybody else, I would probably figure out what we want to do with them as far as the point guard position is really suffering because DeJounte Murray is not a true point, in my opinion. He plays okay, but he's more of a shoot first. And Jeremiah Fears got a long way to go as far as what he could bring
Yeah.
you. But they need to really work with those three guys, Queen, Murphy, and Herb Jones. If you use those three, then you can see yourself being a quality team for much years to come. But everybody else, I would probably see what we could do to move them and just build around those three and get you a good guard. Like you said, Nimhard would have been perfect there. He would have showed up. He would
And
have
I'm
probably
not
had,
sure why they didn't go after John Moran.
yeah, Ja. He's a point guard per se, but he's more a flash and dash. I don't know, and why they didn't go out to Lamelo. I mean, or they could have got Lonzo. I mean, it's a lot of guards out there that you can use, man. But
So
I don't know what
if
they're
you
doing.
even go back not that far, but you mentioned Anthony Davis. So they got a very young Julius Randle and Brandon Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
And they let Randall go in free agency, and then they traded Brandon Ingram away
Yeah,
after he was an all-star.
but Brandon Ingram was more of a cap space hit for them because he would they would have been kind of handcuffed to him because he was a really good player, and you was gonna have to pay him probably a supermax eventually.
Which goes back to the organization. They drafted poorly. They made bad financial decisions. They haven't acquired capital for taking on salary. You know, it's kind of like someone who won their first bet at Vegas and they feel like they're playing with house money, so they don't really care. They're like, okay, put some players out there. Okay, we got some attendance. Okay, put some players out there.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And it could be a combination of a lot of things, man. The city, the organization, and just some type of bad juju is on this team because they had never been, ever since, again, they lost Chris Paul, David West, Tyson Chandler, all that. That was a squad, you know what I mean? And they gave the Mavs a fit all the time. So I don't know, man. Hopefully New Orleans can figure it out. Maybe they need to switch ownerships and take them to the next level with new ownership, man, and maybe get that bad juju off of them. And same thing with the Saints too, the football team. It's just the city itself, man. I don't know, but it is what it is, man. All right, man. Moving on to the next topic. He played very well, and he was on a squad that gave the Lakers a lot of fits back in the days, and he was always kind of remind me of uh, I would say Rolando Blackmanish in Rolando's heyday. And I'm gonna give the floor over to you. We're gonna see what the life and the stats say about Mitch Richmond. That's who we're talking about. Now we're gonna do a deep dive on Mitch Richmond. What you got, Bob?
So at the Nelly funeral, there was a lot of NBA royalty, and a lot of the players spoke, and most of them that spoke played for Nelly. So I got to talk to a few, and Mitch Richmond was one of them. And the first thing he said is, "You look real familiar." I was like, "Well, if you watch game, you look real familiar." And I'm like, "Well, I get on the TV if you watch the Mavericks games." He goes, "Oh, you look real familiar." I said, "Well, I watched you in college. I graduated just before you got out." And I took off my ring. He goes, "Hey, showing off the bling, huh? Showing off the bling." So we had a pretty good conversation. I said, "Well, I'm not old. I'm just vintage." And he replied, he goes, "I like that word, vintage," just smiled real big. He goes, "Can I use that?" I said, "Absolutely." So very
Dang.
personable guy, very funny too. Uh, so that being vintage, watching Run TMC was fun.
Hmm.
And for those that don't know, Run TMC, this is based off it was kind of a parody of
Of a
was
rap
what
group.
the rap group.
Yep,
And
Run
that was
DMC.
Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullins. So that's where they got Run TMC. And Nelly's like, okay, we don't have big guys, but we got fast guys, so we're going to run. So that was really the first edition of small ball. D'Antoni and others have run it, but we're talking in the 80s. Nelly was 30, 40 years ahead of his time as far as matchups. They called him the mad scientist, but he was one of the first to really run small ball. And Mitch Richmond was on that. Uh, the guy was tough. He just you didn't if you put an arm bar on him, which was allowed back then, or you beat him up physically, he still built like a rock. I mean, he looked like a weightlifter. It was like the dude's chest was like twice as wide as mine. Uh,
Dang.
and thick, just rocking it. And but I remember he was just tough. It's like you tried to bully him, and no, you weren't going to move him at all. Uh, he got one ring. Do you know who he got the ring with?
Were the Lakers?
With the Lakers in 2002. Do you know who he played with?
Had to have been Shaq and Kobe.
Shaq and Kobe. You know who they played against?
I'm gonna say Orlando Magic.
The Nets. The
The
Nets of
Nets.
Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson, and Vince Insanity Carter.
Wasn't Kenyon Martin on that squad too?
Kenyon Martin was on that squad.
Yeah. And you know what? Kenyon Martin made a remark on his IG page that he never won the Defensive Player of the Year. I didn't know that.
So, I
That's
mean, that
crazy.
was not a. I mean, Kobe and Shaq get a lot of accolades as they should. They won 3 in a row, but that was not a slouch team. The Nets were real.
They
Uh,
were.
do you know where he played college?
Kansas.
Kansas State.
Kansas State. I knew it was one of them.
Yeah, he had to play against Manning. So here's his career stats: 21 points a game, 21 even, 3.9 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He played 14 seasons. He made 52 million over his whole career. We got players now that make 50 million in 1 year.
Jeez.
Yeah. 6-time All-Star, 5-time All NBA, 3 times got voting shares for MVP. He was Rookie of the Year and first team All Rookie in 88, 89.
Mm.
This next one should surprise you. It surprised me. 94, 95 All-Star MVP.
Really?
I'm talking
Dang.
about when the Rockets and Hakeem Olajuwon won one of their 2 chips. So he was the All-Star MVP in 94, 95. 6 times he got voting shares for All Defensive Team. So I got a little piece of trivia for you, because there's a number 4 in this Swish 4 reel. On May 14th, 1998, traded by the Sacramento Kings with Otis Thorpe, who was a pretty good power forward, to the Washington Wizards for one Chris Webber. Mitch
Yeah, 'cause
Richmond was
Chris,
traded with Thorpe.
what? So he never really played with Chris Webber.
He didn't play with, they might have played at Golden State together, but that's what I dug up. So
Dang, because I thought him and Webber played together. Cause see, Mitch was he left Golden State in '91, and Chris got there in '93. So yeah, they never played together. Dang.
so I figured you might enjoy that little piece of trivia.
Yeah, yeah. Also, because when you think of Mitch Richmond, you think of Golden State, but for whatever reason, Sacramento always come to mind when I think of Mitch Richmond. because he played really well in Sacramento, and then he played really well in Golden State. But for whatever reason, that purple and black always stick to my mind when I think of Mitch Richmond. I don't know why.
Well, and he had said as much at Nellie's funeral. He goes, Nellie, Nellie thought, he said, you could be our best player. He goes, but you traded me. You took money out of my pocket. And he tells the story. He says, that wasn't the first time you took money out of my pocket. He goes, he said, Nellie had called Boston and Milwaukee and said that Mitch Richmond had, oh no, I'm mixing up Tim Hardaway's story. It's Tim Hardaway's story, not Mitch Richmond. Tim Hardaway said, you took money out of my pocket. You told everybody I had bad knees so you could draft me a little later. I was a lottery pick. Tim Hardaway Sr. is saying, I was a lottery pick, but you took money out of my pocket. And Mitch Richmond grabbed Mike. And he said, yeah, but he didn't trade you. He traded me.
Dang. God, man, that's crazy. But yeah, I think if you could compare him to any player all time that comparable, well, not even all time currently, who would play more like Mitch Richmond currently? Because you gave a great description of how he was. He's a dog in so many ways.
Well, I mean, old school, he was Mark Aguirre, Adrian Dantley, Charles Barkley. That's the type of player he was. In today's game, that type of player, other than maybe Julius Randle, that type of player really doesn't exist. As Rick Carlisle says, it takes to throw it inside and then go back outside. It takes too long to set up post plays, which they used to do. That's why the game's played outside in now. But I'm trying to think. I mean, Zion physically is probably the closest to Mitch Richmond, but
Yeah,
their games are nowhere near the same.
yeah. Maybe Giannis almost, but Giannis is not
Giannis is a
as,
lot taller and thinner. I mean, Mitch Richmond's 6'4", 6'5", but he's a solid 240, 250. I mean, he's
yeah,
built like a linebacker. Uh,
that's crazy.
but yeah, he's of the mode of a Dantley or Aguirre or Barkley type.
Nice. And he's out of Florida, so those Florida kids is always athletic and ready to do what they got to do to be a winner in whatever sport they play. So yeah, Kansas State Wildcats. That's crazy. I didn't even know that, man. So I learned a lot, man, about Rich
And
Richmond.
against Danny Manning.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Because Danny Manning was the truth. That was the truth. Oh man, great podcast today, my guy. I appreciate you coming on, man. Salute to you. Uh, Wild Dog Paul, man. We'll get y'all the next time. Boogie Bob, tell everybody where they can find you on these social media streets, man. Give them your handles and so they can catch up with you out there.
You can find me at Boogie Bob. You can always find me on Swish for real.
Swish for real. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Bob. And you can always find me on IG, Mikhail Poet Dash Director, same thing on YouTube, Mikhail Poet Dash Director, same thing on X, same thing on TikTok. I'm on I'm on all the platforms now. So if you ever want to catch up with me, just shoot me a message. And if you want to come on and talk about sports, if you got some real good gab, you got some good information on sports as far as basketball, we'll take in, man. But other than that, you can always catch me here on Switch for Real. I'm always here, man. Boogie bye, man. Great show. Peace. We are out, man.
That's it, Pray.